Hi, my name is Mariah Rogel, and this is my submission for the assignment of the reaction video. And to begin, jumping right into it, my initial reaction on the, I don't know how you pronounce it when you spell it backwards, but the American culture really was one of horror and disgust, because I was so shocked at the reality that a culture could be that intense and that brutal on their own selves. Then I realized with much embarrassment that it was about my culture and my people, and honestly it was a major epiphany, and I was so embarrassed to learn that I believe it's Nacirema is just American spelled backwards, and this little obscene out of the way culture that I thought was just brutal in themselves is actually mine. So that was very enlightening. And honestly, how he depicted it, Horace Miner, the author of the Nacirema, culture article review, was surprisingly accurate. If I was an outsider and I was looking into my culture, the American culture to be specific, it would honestly be as horrific, I would believe, to see people going through, daily rituals of brushing their teeth, yearly rituals of going to the dentist, and just the general negativity surrounding our bodies and the images that we reflect on ourselves and we push on ourselves, honestly. So I think he did a really great job on that, and I'm, again, just so embarrassed to realize that it was about my culture. It was my culture. It was insane. And now to try and explain an event in the American culture as would be viewed from an outsider, I'm going to take one of the most popular holidays in our culture and describe it as if I was on the outside angle viewing in. I'm going to take the holiday of Christmas, and I'm going to try and pick that apart starting from the time surrounding the actual holiday. I see that oftentimes before the holiday and even leading up to and after the holiday is when the most excitement and the most ritualistic events occur, like the playing of Christmas music. There's only the specific type of music that we can play around this holiday, and usually it's subject to 2 distinct periods of time, immediately following Thanksgiving and about a month or so, maybe even less, after the holiday of Christmas itself is when we are allowed to celebrate by listening to Christmas music or putting up and erecting idols such as the coniferous tree in the living room that people will take and will decorate with little memoirs known as ornaments, and strings of lights, and really honestly almost like subject themselves to rigorous pain to find the perfect idol to put in their living room and then decorate it perfectly, all for the nostalgia almost of it, like looking back and decorating a Christmas tree with your parents is such a nostalgic time, and so you do it year after year because it's so nostalgic. And then after that, they after the lead up and the big erection of the household idol is the night before the main holiday, which is really when all the main religious incidents occur, where the jolly old elf comes and crawls into everyone's chimneys and delivers comeuppance for the prior year's actions. Now, if one was good, and well, good as is defined by the elf's definition, they will receive presents for their actions in the year prior if they were a good boy or a good girl. But if they were a naughty boy or a naughty girl, then they would receive technically valuable but undesired and unaesthetic lumps of amorphic fossil fuels, which, can be taken either way. Could be good, could be bad. Then after that, they will generally wake up the next morning and rush downstairs to see if they were good or bad that year, or if Santa, the name of the jolly old elf, came and gave them gifts. Generally he does, because he is actually in fact not real, and the parents will make that up either to not have or have an excuse for giving their kids copious amounts of lucre that is completely unnecessary, or just because they like deceiving them. I'm actually not sure. And then after the gifts are opened up and exploited for various purposes, bragging, etc., they will in the evening have their Christmas dinner, which is generally just another example of overindulgence for that culture. And really, that is a very outsider's view and negative, watered down opinion on the holiday of Christmas, as someone might see it who hasn't experienced it year after year. Now, this practice of Christmas hasn't really changed or morphed that much in the American culture. However, it has drifted away from its original roots of being a religious holiday. Most people do still see it as a religious holiday, but those religious factors and the religious occurrences that happened during this day, which is why it is celebrated for many people, many Christians, have begun to be separated from that actual holiday. Many people have stopped believing in the virgin birth, which is a key part of it, because the day of Christmas itself is actually a celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, which is the figurehead, really, of the Christian religion. He's the Lord and Savior of that religion, and the entire pinnacle and purpose of the Christmas day is to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. However, the beliefs surrounding that have been since lessened, and really people like to celebrate Christmas now because it is an excuse to buy gifts for friends and to buy gifts for themselves, and really to just take advantage of the amazing amount of wealth and surplus we have in America. And now this is really probably detrimental to the US culture, simply because it's taking a more valuable and more beautiful, quite honestly, little form or version of this holiday, and it's stripping it away from it in replace of something very insubstantial and very just not as important, really. And this has caused, well, this is backed really by the Pew Research Center's survey, and I'll quote, which finds that most US adults believe the religious aspects of Christmas are emphasized less now than in the past. And this is quoted from a journal article titled "Americans Say Religious Aspects of Christmas Are Declining in Public Life," 2017. Now, despite this, and despite that reality, many people still pay no heed, quite honestly, to the problem this arises. And ironically, it has been used as another form of marketing of the Christmas season, where there are many Christmas movies or holiday cards where the main point or the main conflict is the idea that the people and characters have lost the reality of the Christmas season, or the reason for the season, as some will put it. And then at the end, they realize that reason and just celebrate without any guilt, I suppose. And that reality is very sad that people have taken that problem and changed it for more marketing, but it is really what we're dealing with. And unfortunately, that placebo of fixing a problem while technically creating another problem is still very alive and well today in the American culture.